My name's Jeff Kadlic, and my guitar company is Champtone Guitars. I build guitars in New York. I started playing guitar when I was about 15, and fast forward a bunch of years, in 2009 I started offering electronics upgrade kits. From there I got a job working for a couple of different guitar makers, and somewhere during that time period I began my first run of Champtone guitars. Yeah, I really love the neck on these guitars, the profile, the dimensions, the thickness and fret wire choice, and that's one of my favorites for sure. It's very easy to get around on. I also really love the control locations. They're just easy to get to, when you're playing live and you want to switch your pickups, it's right here. And I like having the tone control tucked away back here, because I'm the type of player that likes to work these a lot, especially when you're playing live and in the studio too. Yeah, it took me a long time to come up with a shape or an idea for a perimeter. I wanted to do something that was kind of traditional, or something that looked like it had or always existed, and I think I was able to do that. But just as importantly, I wanted to have an instrument that was balanced and felt really nice when you sit down to play, and it just kind of sits right on you, and you just start playing, and it's not running away from you, or kind of not nice and smooth. Yeah, I shoot all my bodies in nitro lacquer still, primarily high gloss finishes, and it's a super time consuming process, but I just love the classic look of lacquer on a guitar. And with this run of Atomics, I also lacquer the peg head face. It's a high gloss just because I like how it matches the body, and that's another detail of this that's a little extra time consuming, but I think it's worth it. And the neck finish is something I've arrived at from doing finishes on guitars for a number of years now, and it's a mixture of paste wax and gunstock oil, and it's got a nice, really smooth, natural feel, especially if you're the player that likes, or if you're a player that likes a maple neck. It's just a great feel. To me, they just seem to be a little easier to get around on, because it has some material taken off on the treble side. So when you're playing your first, second, and third strings, it has just a really fast and smooth feel, but it still has the chunkiness to it when you grab on it and play chords. And sometimes I feel with the C neck profile, it's a little harder to get around on, and this I have really enjoyed playing this profile of a neck for a while now, so that's why I chose to use it. The knobs and the switch tip are by a part maker, Matt Haramis in New Jersey, and he makes really cool parts, and these have been like a big talking point for people that have seen these guitars. It's almost one of the first things they say, like, wow, look at those cool knobs, and so I'm like, what about the rest of the guitar, but I do love how they set off the look of the guitar. And so he's done them in a bunch of different colors, and I just love him, and he's a great guy to work with. I use Lindy Fralin pickups a lot, and Lindy's obviously got an amazing reputation. He's been around for a long time, and they always do a good job, and they're very reliable, and they sound amazing. So there's really what else do you want, These are Lindy Fralin unbucker pickups, and I find them to be super versatile. I love the coil split sound of these is just great if you use modulation effects and delays and stuff and you want some additional clarity and you don't want that full humbucker sound. It gives you a lot of variety from just these two pickups and toggle switch. And I do think about live and playing live because I'm a musician and I play live, and usually what you want is the simpler the better, because there's just so much other stuff going on, and having just a simple push-pull pot and then you got your single coil sounds is awesome. And there is something cool about the unbalanced coil when in humbucker mode too. It's got that humbucker sound, but it has a little bit more of an open kind of punch to it. Yeah, the belly cut on this guitar, I wanted to kind of take this as far as I could, just because, well, it's comfortable, and also the lines of it and the way it works, and to just have a nice shape. The roundover on this guitar is a little different. It's smaller. It's kind of in between an S-style guitar and in between a T-style guitar. So when you have that, it's it's a design consideration to tie it all together, to tie the lines together. There's a little bit of a challenge, but I think it adds up to giving it a really nice feel when the guitar is sitting against your body. It's you can move it around, but it's always balanced. I just kind of like the slightly sort of hot rod look of it, and on these guitars I'm using the Goto 510 bridge with a stainless steel block, and I think it's a beautiful part, and I like the kind of rawness of it, so I decided to not put covers on them. I don't know, covers for me are kind of hit or miss, so I like having an open cavity there. Well, I'm planning to do a run of these with a loaded pickguard that will have a completely different, type of route, and that plays into my original thought of designing the perimeter and trying to come up with something that is adaptable and you could do different things with. So I have made one prototype that's a loaded pickguard version, and I've been playing that for about a year, and I really dig that guitar. So that's next up for the Atomics. Is I'm going to do a short run with different pickup configurations and a loaded pickguard. Yeah, I love this little feature of this guitar. It's an electro socket. A lot of us are familiar with this, and it is an actual electro socket brand electro socket. If I have that right, I actually don't even know who makes the electro socket, but this is the real deal one. And because I'm a lunatic, I think I bought like 3 or 4 different versions of this same thing, and the ones that aren't an actual electro socket are not right to me. I don't know, they don't look right, they don't feel right. So and part of my obsession with that is the way that I countersink it into the body, because you basically have to fit these by hand, each one, and the electro socket just has the best shape to sink into the side of the body. So and I like the way it's kind of that it's kind of hidden and discreet, to keep a clean line instead of having a jack sort of sticking off the end of the body. Same thing with the body shape. The pickguard is something I'll draw out on paper and make different templates, and I'll cut the pickguards, and it's a process of fit and the look, and you go back and forth until you get it where you want it to be. And I cut all the pickguards, one at a time for each guitar, and they're always a different color usually, and just depends on the paint and all the other things to tie it in. And the same thing goes for the covers on the back. And part of that has to do with where this switch ended up. And this cover for the Switch, you know, I make these by hand. It's kind of ridiculous in this day and age, but I do it because this shape doesn't exist anywhere. No one makes it, and there are ways to, you know, you can make a jig and route this out, but I basically cut them and shape them by hand because it's just faster, really. And these, I make a template of these and I cut it on a router and stuff. And again, you know, because it's its own shape and you can't buy it anywhere else. Well, I always start drawing on paper at full scale because I just love the process of doing that. And I do have a background in CAD and can draw on CAD, but with guitars, because you can draw it at full scale, to me, there's just something about working like that initially, because you can just lay it out right in front of you, full, you know, at scale, and get a good feel for where you're going with it. Well, the perimeter of the Atomic is definitely inspired by, you know, the golden age of electric guitars. It was definitely a goal to come up with something unique, which is always a challenge, and yet sort of instantly familiar or recognizable. And I think I was able to do that with this guitar. Of course, I'm always thinking about the ergonomics and how it rests on your body when you're standing up and performing, and when you're sitting and playing too. That's like a really big thing for me, because you don't want to feel like you're fighting the instrument when you're playing. You know, you just want it to be a natural extension of your body if you can. I believe the Champtone Atomic is the result of all of the years of experience I've had as a player, as a repairman, as a finish man, and working in studios, working as a guitar tech, an audio engineer, all these different things that I've done over the years in the music industry. And it's largely influenced by vintage guitars, and I think it incorporates some of the best attributes of the great vintage guitars that came before it, but offers players a little something different, and has a lot of sort of hidden 21st century, you know, technology in the guitar, and it's highly playable, and I can make them repeatedly at a high level, you know, that the quality is very consistent.